Welcome to the Lighthouse. I'm Sergei DRATCHEV, and today we're talking about my new lens, AFS VR Zoom 70 to 300 mm f 4.5 to 5.6 GIF-ED. And I picked this up because my current lens is 50 mm Nikkor f1.4, which is a great lens. I enjoy learning the full-size sensor photography. I just recently switched from crop sensor cameras to this FX D750. It's a great, amazing machine. But recently I was at airport, small local airport in Dansville, New York, and I wanted to shoot some airplanes. And while this one offers amazing, amount of light and sharpness, but the downside is the reach is not there. So I was doing research online, comparing all these expensive and cheap and medium class lenses, and I decided to get this 70 to 300, not 28 to 300, because I don't believe in free stuff, and I think this would be better than 28 because they're just too much. The range of the zoom is too much, and I already have a 50 mm. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build a basically two lens system, but maybe later on I'll get I have my eye on Nikkor 85 mm 1.8, just maybe for something in between. But for now, let's do the unboxing. I got this a couple of days ago at a Canadian store called Henry's. I love these guys. If you're from Canada, you should check them out. And they also gave me this. I never buy UV filters, but I buy clear glass protective filters. I think they're a good thing to have when you can open them. I'm gonna deal with it later. But for now, let's just open the box and see what's inside. Well, there's a carrying case. There's the hood. I don't know, I never use these because you have to take them off each time you put the camera in your bag. But as always, when you buy Nikkor lenses, it's packaged very well. So there's a warranty, there's a manual for a lens, and this is a VR lens, and that's another reason why I bought this one, because someone was saying very good things about 80 to 200 mm, but then I don't believe that one has a vibration reduction like my lens, this one. The 50 mm 1.4 doesn't have a VR, and I tried shooting videos with it, and you can see it was shaking. I didn't use a tripod, so this time I do have a monopod now, but I think it's a good idea to use the modern technology and get a lens with a vibration reduction. Well, no surprise there. It's of course bigger and heavier than my 50 mm lens. Wow. This is the same Thailand silent wave motor. So it's supposed to be good for videos, but they still create some noise. Vibration reduction. Glass. Let's compare them first. Actually, this is bigger. That's why it takes. What's the size of this one? 67 millimeters. Yeah, I got a similar clear glass protector on that lens. the zoom ring, and I think it's locked. Normal, VR off, manual, and you see they have manual, automatic, or manual, so which is cool. So once you touch the ring, it'll switch from auto to M, so you don't even have to move this. I love this. Now for me the question is, how do I carry it in my bag now? Because in my bag I have a small bag, I only had one camera, one lens, but we'll see. Let's just, for now, I just need to remove this one. Yeah, this is probably 3 times the weight of this, but this is an amazing lens. 500 bucks for this beauty. 1.4. But the 85mm that I was thinking about is just, with a 1.4 is way too expensive. Alright, so that's how my D750 looks now. Well, it looks like a professional camera, right? You can go and start shooting weddings, funerals, and do some baby portraits maybe. Well, I managed to unpack this with a knife and added it to the lens, and you cannot even see it, but that's over here. The ring does protect the front element of the glass, and I briefly checked the manual. It's very brief, but it did have some good tips. In particular, I learned that when you frame your picture and you half press the shutter release, they recommend to wait till the picture in the viewfinder stops moving, because that's when the VR works. And they say press the shutter release when the movement is basically down to 0, right? Or is reduced, greatly reduced. And another feature, some lenses, there's an order you have to follow, like when do you turn the camera on and when do you turn on and off the VR switch. Like I remember on my before I had Nikon D5300, a crop sensor camera, and over there they were very strict about this VR, you know. They were saying make sure you switch it. Let's say if you are getting ready to switch off the camera, they say make sure you switch it off before the VR and then the camera, because something has to move in there, right, to get ready for parking mode, so to speak. If you switch off the camera before, you cut all the power towards the lens. So anyway, like here I checked, they don't say anything. They just say switch it on, off, and make sure the button goes all the way to on. And there's 2 modes here for VR, normal and active. Normal is what you use when you are stationary yourself, and active is when you're, let's say, shooting from a vehicle that moves and the vehicle itself jumps. When you're jumping on a tarpaulin and you want to shoot a picture, active will be the mode to use. So I'm going to keep it like this: normal, VR on, and MA for focusing. So let's go shoot some pictures. conclusion after my shooting session. The lens is definitely very big compared to any prime, so if you have a small bag, that might be a problem. It's also heavy and it's difficult to carry the camera with the lens attached. I read something about stressing the connection point. People were saying online, don't carry your camera on with that band attached, because the lens it pulls down. Secondly, one thing that surprised me when I was shooting, let's say you just saw the picture of a pigeon in there, and I don't know, it wasn't that far away, and I zoomed in at 300 mil, and the bird was still pretty small. As I mentioned before, I'm coming from crop sensor cameras, and this 300 mil, of course, on a crop sensor, this will be what, 450 mil, and I kind of a little bit used to that with zoom lenses. So I'm just saying that 300 millimeters sounds a lot like a big number, but it's not actually. It does not bring you that close as like me. Like I expected I'd be closer to the subject, and it does make some noise when focusing actually, even though it has a silent wave motor, but there's some kind of clicking noise inside when I have pressed the shutter release. So, and it does feel like the pictures are, compared to my, of course, to my 50 f1.4, the pictures are a bit, not too bad, but I just feel like there's, of course, there's less light coming into the camera, but it does help that I have a full-size sensor, expensive camera. But me personally, I got about 2 weeks to decide. I might switch to a more expensive lens with a fixed f4 aperture, f number. And also I found that like some people were saying online, that this lens tends to be at its sharpest below 200 millimeters. Once you go past 200 millimeters, it's not that sharp, and I think I felt that. So basically, with this lens, you don't want to use it at the widest, at the biggest zoom. So then, what's the point of having 300 millimeters? You might as well get like a more expensive f4 lens. Let's say 70 to 200, or maybe 70 to 80 to 200. So I don't know. This would be great. This lens would be great for a crop sensor camera. I think that's my conclusion. For a full-size sensor camera, it's a little bit short. You don't gain anything. Like even that you saw a picture of the bird that was sitting on a pile of dirt, like not the pigeon but a small bird, and I was pretty close, and still, even at 300 millimeters full zoom, that bird is tiny, but if I had a crop sensor, that would be equivalent to 450 mil. Then I'm pretty sure I can make that bird like occupy the majority of the frame. So, and as I mentioned, my main goal was to shoot like flying objects, like airplanes. So of course airplanes are much bigger, but still, with it looks like on this camera, this 300 millimeters would be a little bit too short. So basically, for airplanes, you need something dedicated, or I can just use my Panasonic video camera and make videos instead of stills. So I guess it all depends on what you want to do. But I'm just saying that with a full-size camera, let's say if I was shooting wildlife, like doing wildlife photography, like birds and stuff like that, with this lens you'd have to come real close to your subject, to like, unless it's a bear, and then it can be dangerous. But if you want to shoot like a bird, I don't think this lens is can zoom enough, you know. So that's my those are my personal impressions, and thanks for watching. The lighthouse will be back.